Okay, you guys, I did not think we'd be here. Because if you thought Stephanie Jenkins lying about you was wild, wait until you hear this. We're talking receipts, court documents, CBS ultimatums, and a subscriber meltdown so bad she literally flipped off the four people still paying her. I'm sorry, what? This isn't just messy, it's a career ending scandal. Let's get into it. Here's the situation in quick bits so everyone's on the same page. Stephanie Jenkins, aka Resilient Jenkins, is losing subs fast. Receipts dropped about her marriage to her incarcerated husband, Jeremiah Thompson. Allegations say Jeremiah groomed her two daughters. Court documents show he filed for divorce, but Stephanie refused. CPS allegedly gave her an ultimatum: leave Jeremiah or lose her kids. A YouTuber, Cast Eye, brought all this to light with receipts. On top of that, Stephanie admitted she lost 380 paid subscribers overnight and blamed TikTok's algorithm. Here's the problem we're unpacking. Why does Stephanie always play victim while putting her kids in danger? So here's where it really starts, and honestly, this is where my jaw hit the floor. Stephanie Thompson was married to Jeremiah, a man who was already a registered offender with a disturbing history of grooming even his own mother. And the kicker? According to receipts, Stephanie already knew this before she walked down the aisle. Instead of protecting her daughters, she still chose to tie herself to him and even brought kids into that nightmare.
So, as you guys know, Jeremiah Thompson is Stephanie's husband, and he is in jail for being a PDF file. And there are documents stating that Jeremiah was rooming the girls, okay? Addie and Bella. Stephanie had two children with Jeremiah knowing his criminal history. Who in their right mind would lay down and have children two times with a person who has been to jail for being a PDF file? Stephanie. And then their children became victims to their own father. I will never stop talking about this. CPS had to tell Stephanie that if she did not leave Jeremiah, that she would also get her children taken away from her. So with that being said, CPS did have to force Stephanie to leave her husband. And no, she is not divorcing him.
And I know some people try to spin it, saying maybe she was stuck, maybe she didn't have options. But let's be real for a second. Her mom literally handed her money to divorce him. And what does Stephanie allegedly do? She blows it on herself. Not on safety, not on freedom, or in passenger shopping like nothing was wrong.
Stephanie gets herself in these relationships and she becomes a different person. This isn't my daughter. This is not the person I raised. This is not her. Who she is right now is not her.
Then it gets worse. Jeremiah gets charged with grooming Addie and Bella. That's when CPS had to step in, reportedly laying it out plain and simple: leave him or lose your kids. And instead of admitting that, Stephanie jumps on TikTok to call her mom a liar, dragging her as a cloud chaser. But here's the part that changes everything: the court document. They don't back up Stephanie's story at all. In fact, they prove the exact opposite. And once you see that in black and white, it is impossible to look at her excuses the same way again. Court documents show Jeremiah filed for divorce. Like, are you kidding me right now? The guy accused of grooming her daughters is the one who actually tried to cut things off. He's the one who filed the divorce papers. Meanwhile, Stephanie is clinging on, fighting to hold that marriage like it's some prize worth keeping. And that's the part that really makes you stop, because it flips the whole victim story on its head and shows just how far she'll go to keep control of the narrative. If the court has to step in and put it on paper, keep this man away from the girls, that is not a subtle warning. That is the state screaming red flag. And yet, Stephanie still stayed. And then Cast Eye doesn't just stroll in casually. They come swinging with the whole package. We are talking documents, receipts, timestamps, the kind of airtight detail where you just sit back like, yeah, there is literally no wiggle room here. They stacked it up so neatly, so airtight that even trying to argue against it would just make you look ridiculous, like you're grasping at straws. And that's the point. It left no space for Stephanie's excuses to breathe.
What the fuck? And of course, Stephanie doesn't take any sort of accountability. She's the queen of making 1,000,010 excuses. So she basically made a counter video stating she had no idea who he was and who his past was, or what his past was, and she would have never married him if she knew his laundry list of charges, and that he was this terrible person, and would have never had her 2 kids with him had she have known. And the YouTube creator basically brought to light that all of that is a lie. Stephanie Thompson was very aware of who she married and who that man was, and she simply did not care. So much to the fact that her husband's mom reached out to her and basically sat her down when she found out that her son was dating somebody and said, like, hey, this is his past. You can see at the end here, she was not concerned and she did not care. And they proceeded to have their first daughter in 2015.
And here's where the whole thing just flips upside down and goes from messy to downright shocking. Stephanie goes live and admits she lost nearly 380 subscribers overnight, leaving her with just 4 paying fans. And instead of taking a breath and asking herself why, instead of even acknowledging the grooming allegations or the mountain of lies catching up to her, what does she do? She flips off the 4 people still giving her money. Like, your last supporters, and that's the thanks they get? Wild. Then she slides right into blame mode. In her mind, the real problem isn't her choices, it's TikTok's algorithm. She says she's more active than some creators, but still unfairly punished. It's always the same cycle. The platform, her mom, the haters, literally anyone but her.
So I was 30 minutes early to my doctor appointment, and I figured I was just going to pop up on a sub-only live, only to see like either my TikTok is mad glitchy or I just keep losing monetization rights on TikTok for you guys, because it's truly like not anything I'm lacking doing. I feel I post and I'm just as active as, if not more active than, some creators that I've seen, and like still like the algorithm's just like no. So that being said, like I really was trying to hop up on a sub only live, but why would I do that for 4 subscribers? Apparently, like I lost like 380 overnight. So,
and here's what makes it stink even more. This is the same woman who went online saying she left Jeremiah for the kids. But the receipts tell a different story. CPS had to push her out. Plain and simple. That's why this part doesn't just read like messy internet drama. It feels like straight up dangerous lies that put her kids directly at risk. And that's a whole other level.
But we're already seeing the backlash. Stephanie is losing followers. Most importantly, I think she's losing subscribers. She has very few left, where at one time in her heyday, she was getting thousands of dollars a month just from subscribers. And things are so bad that the last sub-only live that she did, there was only 4 people in there. And Stephanie was mad and she flipped them off. But why would she flip them off? Like, those are the only 4 people that really cared what she had to say in her sub-only live. Like, everything's wild. I'm glad this is coming to an end. I think a lot of us were watching it for, morbid curiosity. But I think this is just the end of it. Once I'm done, I'll let you guys know what I've learned. But go check out the video yourself.
So let's break down the bigger picture. She's always pointing at her mom, the algorithm, CPS, basically anyone but herself. And that non-stop deflection, that refusal to just own even a little piece of the blame, that's exactly what keeps her locked in this messy cycle. It's like she hits repeat on the same chaos over and over again, and somehow still acts shocked every time it blows up in her face. Every single scandal turns into content for her. Sympathy posts, crying videos, monetized drama, you name it. She even managed to spin her subscriber meltdown into a whole live stream like it was just another storyline to cash in on. Stephanie leans heavy on her audience to defend her, almost like they are her personal shield. But once the receipts dropped and exposed the lies, that whole safety net collapsed. Her sub-only circle wasn't this loyal fan base she painted. It was transactional. And the moment the truth hit, they bounced. So the bigger picture? This isn't just Stephanie being messy. This is influencer culture propping up manipulation until the receipts roll in and tear it all down. The fallout here is honestly brutal. Like, there is no sugarcoating it. Stephanie's lost hundreds of paying subs practically overnight. CPS attention is circling back around again. Her reputation in the TikTok mom space completely shattered. And let's not forget, Jewish kids legally carried Jeremiah's last name, all because she refused to cut ties. That's not just messy. That's generational damage that sticks on paper forever. And while all that's happening, Stephanie's out here pointing fingers at glitches and blaming the algorithm for why she's losing monetization. Like, no, bestie, the algorithm didn't make you stay married to Jeremiah. This is why it hit so hard. The public finally got to see behind the curtain. And once people realize you're willing to put a predator over your own kids, that's the line you don't come back from. My verdict? Stephanie is not unlucky. She's definitely not being targeted. She is flat out exposed. This is a mother who chose predators over her own daughters, lied straight to her audience for years, and then had the nerve to flip off the last 4 people paying her. And let's be real, if CPS doesn't step in, the internet already has. The support's gone. The mask is off, and people aren't buying the excuses anymore. So I've got to ask you, do you think Stephanie should lose custody at this point? Or do you think there is still even more mess about to spill? Let me know down in the comments, because trust me, this saga is nowhere near over.